All right, guys, I'm the Flat Rate Master. Today we're going to talk about what every starting technician should have in their toolbox. All right, guys, first thing we're going to talk about is you need a place to keep your tools. As a professional technician, you need a place to lock your tools. Customers come through, they're going to steal tools. You might have that tire guy that, you know, has a drinking problem or whatever, and he's going to grab something of yours. So you need to be able to lock your tools. Now, a couple options are going to be this Harbor Freight tool cart that our junior technician uses every day. Now, I've known guys that have used these toolboxes, these carts, for years without issues. They're built very well for the money. They're cheap. They're a good way to get into the business. The only thing is eventually you will run out of room and have your entire cart fill, so you will have to upgrade to a box. The other option, which is much more expensive, is a professional tool truck cart like this that has drawers all the way down. Now, the good thing about this kind of cart is it'll last you a lot longer before you have to upgrade to a professional toolbox. So it's something you have to decide what's in your best interest. I do not recommend running out and buying a $10,000 toolbox like this that I bought 20 years ago. You're gonna have a ton of money in payments on a toolbox, but no real money in tools, to buy tools. So you've got to have the money to be able to buy tools. Tools is what makes you money. The storage is efficiency and your ability to lock your tools. So we're going to go over what tools you need to have, what tools that are good to have in the future, but we're going to go over mostly your essential tools. All right, as a beginning technician, you're going to have oil changes. Fact of life, get used to it. You're going to get stuck with the oil changes. So some essential tools for oil changes is filter wrenches, filter cups, and depending on where you work and what kind of vehicles you work on, or whether or not they're provided. Some shops do provide these, some shops don't. Most do not, so you will wind up having to get these. Figure out what you're going to need after you work there a little while and start buying these, so you quit borrowing your coworkers. Obviously, you're going to need a 1/2-inch impact. Taking wheels off, doing rotates, eventually doing brakes. Do not scrimp on this. This is an Ingersoll Rand 2135 Ti. I've owned this for years, well, a decade at least. It's my backup gun now, but it's a excellent value for what I paid for it, considering the life I've gotten out of it. Spend the money, get a good gun, keep it oiled, and it'll last you a long, long time. After that, depending on your shop, torque sticks or a halfway decent, a Harbor Freight will work for torquing lug nuts. But either torque sticks or a torque wrench for tightening lug nuts. I really like these Astro Pneumatic lug nut sockets with the nylon cover on them, especially for a young technician. Keeps you from damaging customers' wheels. You don't want that boss coming screaming at you because you just cut up a brand new car's, very expensive wheels. So I highly recommend these. You can get them on Amazon. Harbor Freight has a set, should do you good. They're cheap, so even if you can't get them warranted, they're cheap. So get you a set of these. You need a good, not even a good one, just a box cutter with a decent set of blades. This is a Cobalt. I actually had a Harbor Freight one. I liked the style, I lost it, but get some decent blades for it, because you're gonna cut open a lot of boxes of the Flat Rate Tech. So I've got a bunch of knives around my cart, my toolbox, everywhere. So get you a good box cutter, a serpentine belt tool. As you start working in the shop, you're gonna wind up doing serpentine belts. You either got this Lyle one that I've owned for years, works good, or you can get a gear wrench with a ratcheting mechanism. Those work really well. This setup is very cheap on Amazon. No real reason to buy this on the tool truck. You can buy this on Amazon. It doesn't break. It's a bar of steel and some adapters. The only thing you're gonna do is lose the adapters, but relatively cheap. Even if you do lose an adapter, you can get just buy a whole new set. A good tire pressure gauge. I cannot stress that enough. Do not cheap out. Get the Harbor Freight. Get a good, doesn't have to be digital nor this kind of style, but a good gauge. With TPMS sensors nowadays, they're getting really sensitive, and you don't want a customer coming back because their light came back on. So get you a good Astro Pneumatic. There's ones from Nico, there's Milton, TrueFlate. There's plenty of good ones out there to get. Just don't cheap out on that, because that's something you don't want to come back, because that is a pissed off customer. Magnetic trays. I cannot stress enough how much these come in handy, and they're cheap. I bought a 4-plate version of this on Amazon for 15 bucks. Harbor Freight has them. It's just magnets and a tray. So you don't have to spend a bunch of money buying Snap-on or anything like that. You can get them cheap. They work great. Great for putting fasteners in when you're doing a repair. Great for keeping organized. You can't have enough magnetic trays. Believe me, you cannot have enough magnetic trays. All right. As far as other essentials, a 90-degree pick or a pick set. Don't skimp out by the Harbor Freight. They suck. There's plenty of other ways you can get a good pick set. So get you a halfway decent one. Other thing is hitch tool dealer up. Get you a 11th finger, a pocket screwdriver, however you want to call it. Essential for working on cars. As you can see, I've got several of them. Next up, you're going to want some decent screwdrivers. You don't have to buy these off the tool truck, Craftsman or Professional. You're not going to really use them that much, but a decent set. Don't be doing the Harbor Freight again. Those two are too cheap. Get yourself a decent set of screwdrivers. And if you work on Asian vehicles a bunch, go to Amazon and get you a Vessel JIS standard screwdriver number 2. Cheap, takes you forever to get it because it comes from Japan, but they're not that expensive and they work great for those screws in like Japanese throttle bodies. So great tool to have. A pocket mirror. This is something that you don't have to spend a bunch of money on. It's just a mirror on a stick. So you can get that anywhere. Part stores. Magnets. Make sure you get magnets because you will drop stuff. 20 years later, I still drop stuff. Magnets can save your life or save a job. Next up, we're going to talk about pry bars. Get you some decent pry bars. You're going to be prying on stuff, get you some decent pry bars. Harbor Freight suck. The Craftsmans are good. There's plenty of brands out there that you can get that aren't the tool trucks that are good. Just get you some good pry bars. Next essential is a good flashlight. Now I use Streamlight. They're expensive, but they last, and they're tough. But doesn't have to be Streamlight. Some guys like headlamps, stuff like that. Just figure out what you like and get what you like and get what's going to work for you. Now ratchets is a very, very personal subject. A lot of guys are very vehemently supporting certain ratchets. I actually love this Matco ratchet. It's now my mainline ratchet. But you need to figure out what you like in a ratchet. Some guys like the comfort grips handles, the rubber handles. Some guys don't. They want the old hard handles. But you want to get something that's going to last you, can be easily warranted, even if that's Harbor Freight. I've heard some good things about their newest ratchets, and they're easily warranted. Or Gear Wrench makes some good stuff. It's actually the same design as this Matco, just different country of origin. So they're a good ratchet, an option for you. But just get you a good ratchet that you feel comfortable with using. Obviously, I like the flex head, but some guys do. Some guys prefer the short ratchets. Get ratchets in 3/8, 1/4 inch, and 1/2 inch drive that you guys like. Whatever fits your hand, what you feel comfortable with, because you're going to have your hand, especially on this 3/8, a lot. This is going to be one of the most used tools in your toolbox. So get one you like that you're going to enjoy using. All right, sockets. You're going to want to pick up some sockets. Now, 1/4 inch drive, you don't have to buy Snap-on. In fact, this set right here is Gear Wrench. Gear Wrench makes some really good chrome sockets. I've had these for a couple years now. Semi-deeps, love them. They're great. So get yourself a set of deep well metric, high, and essentially, especially no skips. You want no skips, because any skips in any of your sets may screw you up, because those skips are generally ones that are close to an SAE socket, and if you don't have any SAE, you're kind of in trouble. So you have to borrow sockets. So 1/4 inch deep and shallow. You're going to want on 3/8, again, shallow and deep, as big of a set without skips as you can get. Mine goes up to 24 on these shallows. If you're going to buy off the tool truck, I highly recommend doing impact sockets over chrome. Eventually, you're going to use these on impacts. You don't want the chrome tearing up your impact gun, because these are designed to be softer. Yes, you will have to warranty them more often, but they're lifetime warranty if you buy off the tool truck. The advantage is they're cheaper, and when you get to the point where you've got a 3/8 impact, you don't have to add another set of tools to your bill, basically. So you're going to want to get those in 1/4 inch, in deep and shallow, as big of a set as you can get. Again, Gear Wrench chrome are excellent. So don't feel bad about if you spend money on Gear Wrench. Craftsman is okay as well, but Gear Wrench is really a good bargain for what they are. Now, 1/2 inch starting out, you can just get those lug nut sockets and be good. Eventually you will have to upgrade to 1/2 inch drive stuff, but it'll be in the future. Next up, spark plug sockets. Back in the day, you had 5/8 and 13/16. Well, the world has changed. You got 5/8, you got 14 millimeter, you got 9/16, and you got 12 point or 6 point. If you work on Nissans, BMWs, Minis, you need to go ahead and get a 12 point or 6 point 14 millimeter, because you will run into those spark plugs. Now, couple things that I didn't mention earlier that I think are essential are hood props. These are important, especially if you're working on Chrysler products. The hood struts are always dead, so you want to get these. These are cheap. These aren't too expensive. It allows you, yes, you can use a pair of locking pliers to do the same thing. It's up to you. But definitely get you a set of those, because you will need them unless you know, like a hood dropping on your head. All right, wrenches. A good set of combination wrenches. Now, gear wrench will do fine. Again, do not get a set with skips. You want the complete set. Like my set didn't come with a 16. Well, guess what? 16's used on Fords all the time, especially for drain plugs. So that's why it doesn't match, is because they skipped that one in that set. Gear wrench will do fine for you. The only time it won't is when you're trying to break a fastener loose and that head's too big. So keep that in mind. You can also get you a gear wrench set of combination wrenches without the ratcheting end as a second set. It's up to you as far as how you want to work and what your budget is. Couple things, you also want to get an 8mm, and if you work on any European, a 9 and 11. You want to make sure you have those if you work on Europeans, because a lot of Europeans use those for brake bleeder screws. A brake gauge. This will be really good for upselling brakes, because all you got to do is stick this in against the brake pad, and if there's 3mm of brake pad left, they need brakes. Get you a little bit of extra flat rate. Decent scraper or a razor blade, it's up to you. An impact driver and a good number 2 tip. Harbor Freight will work fine. The tips suck, so you may have to upgrade somewhere along the line to a different tip, but you do need, if you're doing Hondas especially, a good impact driver. All right, extensions. You need to get you a good selection of 1/4 inch, 3/8, and eventually 1/2 inch drive extensions. Up to you on wobble or straight or wobble plus, but you definitely want to get yourself a set of extensions starting out. They do not have to be snap-on. They're bars of steel, hold a socket on the end. Craftsman gear wrench will work fine. You also want to get some impact swivels and chrome swivels. Again, don't have to be high dollar, but recommend you get those because they will come in handy down the road. Eventually, you'll want to get a 1/2 inch drive as well for doing caliper bolts and suspension work. A decent panel tool, either this style or that style for popping panels loose. You take a lot of underbodies off, so these will come in very handy. A good set of channel locks. Now these are Knipex, but channel locks are essential. They'll use them all the time. A good pair of dikes. Good pair of standard pliers. Again, you don't have to go to Snap-on. You can get them elsewhere. A selection of needle nose pliers. I especially love the 45 bent. These I would spend a little bit more money on because the cheaper ones, the jaws do tend to bend, so keep that in mind. At least one hose pick. Getting under hoses to get them broken loose, so you can get them off. Handy tool to have. Panel clip tools, you can buy these on Amazon, you can get them from Harbor Freight. Good tools to have for when you start doing more advanced work. Vice grips of all sizes, essential tools. And next drawer, battery cleaning tools. You're gonna need to clean batteries. So get yourself a decent brush, some baking soda, and an old Gatorade bottle so you can clean batteries. A okay set of hex. You can do Craftsman, you can do Snap-on. There's not too big to get into it. Then they'll start getting to the point where you have to upgrade. But Craftsman will get you going. Torx bits. complete set of those, you definitely want to at least go to VIM or Snap-on or Matco Silverline or something like that, because you will break these if you don't buy the good sets, and you probably still will break them, but you want the good sets of these. You don't want to go to Craftsman or Gear Wrench. The Gear Wrench are really bad about breaking. Now, if you work on European stuff, you may need inverted Torx or triple squares. The inverted Torx I highly recommend. Snap-on, I've proved over and over again why those are the best. The triple squares, VIM makes some really good triple squares. So remember that name, VIM. They make really good stuff, and it's really affordable. As you can see, I've got a little bit of Vim in my toolbox. All right. And at least one good hammer, ball peen. You gotta beat stuff. And I recommend this style, which is made by Lang for expanding brake calipers. Very good tool, works on a lot more applications than this. Occasionally it won't work and it's too big, so you have to use a tool to press them out, like a pair of channel locks to get enough room to get this in. But for the most part, these works most applications that are push in, not screw in. Oh. Damn it. The last thing we're going to need is a brake caliper tool to turn in those turn-in rotors. This is a Mac. The Harbor Freight works fine. Get the Harbor Freight. Don't spend the extra money on a professional tool truck one. Get the Harbor Freight one. It'll work fine. Guys, I'm the Flat Rate Master. If you like what you saw, subscribe, hit the thumbs up, share it. If you didn't like my video, hit the thumbs down, but tell me why so I can get better. Thanks for watching.